Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another exciting edition on our program Mountain Echoes. Today, the 11th of June 2024, the memorial of St. Barnabas. And all those by that name, we say happy feast to you. And we want to extend these greetings also to our very special friends at the border of the Cameroon and Nigeria at Ikok and Eyumujok, where the parish priests always gather his Christians to sit around the TV to watch DMRO TV and the very special the special Mountain Echoes. We say a big shout to you. And there's also a fan club over there in I'm sure it's in Bafia. Yes, the Maninguas who are there. We want to extend our greetings to them also. And of course, we have another fan club at Ikom, where we have a group of persons also, a fan club of Mountain Echoes precisely. We say a big shout to them. And of course, there are other fan clubs around the globe, not necessarily maybe calling their names, but we know that they are there. The silent viewers who rather say nothing, but we take the things that we put on board, we take it as serious as possible. Today, we shall be looking at this topic. Refusal to marry, a result of domestic violence. What is your take? Refusal to get married, or refusal to marry as a result of domestic violence. In a summary, a group of persons are working with them drew this conclusion that because of domestic violence that they have maybe gone through in their houses, seeing papa beating mama or vice versa, or maybe stories being told to them, they made up their minds that they will not get married because they don't want to get themselves or find themselves in that kind of mistake or that kind of difficult life. That is what we'll be looking at today. We cannot be talking about topics like this without bringing persons who are involved in marriage. Also, what is the secret? Is it worth getting married, or to stay alone, or maybe to join the fan club of those they call themselves single parents, or maybe to have your child and stay at home? All those things, we'll look at them properly and we'll give a way forward, and we encourage young people out there to see that marriage is not just maybe a war ground or maybe a battleground, but it's an institution that God himself is the author. And then if you look up to him, especially in difficult moments, he's going to maybe give you a tap by your back and maybe will survive, will help you to to go through the marriage. That is why we have, like I said, these persons on board. We have Mr. Valentine Dongwa. He has been there for 10 years, if I'm not making a mistake. 2014 precisely. This is 2024, so he has been there for 10 years. And there are some persons who think that because of seeing the marriage, seeing marriage as a battleground, they won't go into it or prefer to have maybe their kids and stay apart. What do you think about that? Anyway, you're welcome and good evening.
Thank you, Father. Good evening, viewers of Mountain Echoes. It's a pleasure once again to be on board to serve yet another interesting topic. That trauma that has a far-reaching effect on marriage. I want to seize this opportunity to greet my wife. She's glued to the TV set with the kids. They are watching, and I wish that they will actively participate in this program, like the other fan clubs that Father just said a while ago. Not forgetting Mr. Ndong Evis, my 14. He too is a leader or is a head of a fan club. We want to tell you that we are here because you are there, and we wish that you participate in this our program, and we are happy to be with you once again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Valentine Dongwa, for creating time to be with us today. We have beside Mr. Valentine Dongwa, Madame Maureen. Madame Maureen has been away for some time. She was in the northwest region of Cameroon. I'm sure she went to Yaoundé, then coming back to the southwest region. All this short period of time. Yeah, she has been in 3 of those regions out of the 10 regions. I'm sure maybe in the course of the months coming, she will maybe hit some of the other regions in Cameroon. Madame Maureen, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Father, and good evening, my fellow panelists. And it's really been a while. I don't know, like Father has said, I don't know if I was bad for, is this sabbatical leave? How do they call it? But I'm happy to be back. Yeah. And like we were saying, Father has talked about fan club. I'm sure very soon I'll also organize my own fan club. Yeah. Because I know they've been eager to see me sitting here and talk to them as always. Mm-hmm. And this evening, Father, I'm going to great Street One Women meeting. I talked about this topic to them this evening, and I'm sure all of them, if not, they'll go to their TV And I will not forget this my very special viewers who are always there. Komise Bomzele, Mami Mary Shalanyoy, and Mami Esther, who is in Limbe, Tata Vitalis in Bamenda, and in fact my family, I don't need to call them again because every time as I'm rushing here, they're already glued and waiting, especially my Benji, waiting for to listen and then tell me and evaluate, say, Mama, you did well. Thank you. This is a very nice topic, and we're going to make sure that we create awareness and sensitize people as we do always.
Yeah, thank you very much for Madam Maureen for coming and joining us today. We have Mr. Charles Biobangi, who has been away for some time, I'm sure, because he's a teacher. You know, they're very busy with the GCE preparations for GCE, and this time around GCE coming to a close, and then the next shift will be the marking of the GCE, and then we have the final month, which is selective, because we're told that June is compulsory with August being selective, you know, and some other kind of stuff. Mr. Joe Charles, you're welcome and good evening.
Thank you, Father, for this wonderful opportunity that was always granted to me in this wonderful platform. As you rightly said, June has actually been challenging because of the GC, the collective mourn, where all of us come together. After the collection, there will be a selection. So we want to encourage all those who wrote, those who wrote well, that they should not be afraid. They should pray to their God, and God will make it for them. And then to the wonderful crew here, I'm very happy to be among you guys. Though I'm not yet married, but I'm here to tap and also to share the beat.
I hope you are not one of those guys who say that no, because of domestic violence, we're not going for marriage.
No, I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them.
Anyway, Mr. Charles, you're welcome and good evening. We have, of course, Mama Musuma Messi. She has Musuma Messi. Mama, good evening and welcome. I'm sure this is your first time of coming to this DMR TV, especially Mountain Echoes. Thank you for creating time and accepting the invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father, for inviting me. It's a pleasure coming to DMR TV for the first time. And I want to greet all co-panelists. I think the topic's a crucial one. We'll see how we can talk about it and encourage the youths to go into marriage. I also want to wish my children who are there watching the television this evening, other colleagues who have been seeing me on television, that I'm here live to talk about on issue of marriage.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mama Mercy Musima. We go directly. Mr. Valley, you said the ball rolling, looking at the terminologies that we have there to break it for the common people and our viewers so that they can, sail with us on the right direction. We're talking about refusal to marry or marry as a result of domestic violence. What is your take? So we have when you talk of refusal or denial to marry, what does that imply?
Thank you once again, Father. Thank you, viewers. We will set the ball rolling. When you talk about refusal to get married, refusal is like you have you have the opportunity to get married, but you refuse. It's a deliberate act that I want to get into it. You decide that no, I'm not going to go into that. Then we'll talk about domestic violence. Now, domestic violence is abusive behaviors in which an individual gains power over another individual. Yes, and you will likely get terms like intimate partner abuse, family violence, child abuse, battering, courtship violence, marital rape, date rape, and stalking. That's repeated harassment. These are the we call them the jargons, the jargons of domestic violence. It should be noted that domestic violence, we have some types of domestic violence. We have sexual domestic violence. We have physical violence. We have psychological aggression or emotion. Then we have stalking. Stalking has to do with repeated harassing. Then we have economic violence. When we talk about economic violence, it's a little bit broad-based. We have time, we have transportation, we have food, clothing, shelter, insurance, and money. These are the various types of violence that are embedded under economic violence. as time unfolds, we'll be giving you the nitty-gritty of these various types of violence. And I'm sure the youths who are poised not to get married because they think that violence is the order of the day, then there's going to be a rethink.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Maritime Ndongwa. You're going to, convince these young people, with facts to show that this is a safe ground for them to enter into. Is the only institution where the couples themselves are the ministers, and when you find yourself into it, there is no, turning back. It's like the famous song, I'm sure when you were young, you were with the YCW members, that association that the one who has put his hand on the plow, he has no reason to turn back. You just go ahead. That's how marriage is. But then, like, looking at the topic, Madam Maureen, I think there's a kind of a contradiction. So kind of looking at the definition that Mr. Valentine has just given, we're talking about refuser or denier, and then at the end of the day, some of these young people still find themselves, I want to get a kid, I want to get my child, and blah blah blah. They have maybe a single parent and the rest. Don't you see that it's a kind of a contradiction? I don't want to get married because of domestic violence, but I want to have a child. So how do you maybe situate that?
All right, Father, like you said, it is really controversial.
Yeah.
It's a contradiction because we all know that even the church says it, and even the society, you cannot just sit in your house, be you a man or a boy or a girl, and you decide to have children. It means you're fornicating, right? So you need to get married. And even in church, during that day, you will see the priest will say, will you accept children lovingly from God? When you are being baptized as a young boy or as a young girl, or you're being communicant, they don't ask you if you're going to have children. It's only when you're getting married. Yes. So getting married means, having kids means you've decided to get married, and then you've been blessed with kids. But when you stay back at home and you refuse, like my colleague has said, it's not that you don't have the opportunity, because we know that some people will say that everybody does not get married. There are some people who maybe naturally a boy has never, maybe a man of marital age has never found a girl he wants to get married to, or a girl nobody has ever approached her. We are talking of the person that really has suitors, let me say a girl, and he keeps on rejecting them and refusing because of this domestic violence that maybe he or she experienced. So if you don't want to get married, I think you should also not have kids. It is harsh. It is harsh, but they should have a rethink. Nothing goes forever, and there is nothing without a solution. No matter what you experience, it is that time. Okay, what you even experience can help you look for solutions to get married and have your kids. And you should also know that what has transpired or what you experience as domestic violence, we don't need to go back to those things again. You don't need, they might not happen to you, and you can have a way. We are now in the 21st century. There are so many ways to get out of all the traumatic situations that we are going through. So if you don't want to get married, do not have kids.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Maureen, for that. I hope maybe you have that opportunity to talk to the Association of Single Parents or Single Mothers. They are everywhere in Limbe, they are in Boya, they are in Tiko, Yaoundé, and so on and so forth. And they are very strong. And I think also that is a movement that if we do not put our hands on deck, maybe they give a kind of a teachings to the young people that marriage is not a safe ground for them, and it becomes so difficult. So we need to make them to understand the importance of marriage. What is it? It's an institution, not just a battleground like some of them they think. Madam Nessie, we've been looking at this topic. We said refusal to marry, a result of domestic violence, and Mr. Valentine and Madam Maureen, they have given what the definitions and their own point of view. Just looking at this topic, and you've been there working with the young people, working with the children, and in your neighborhood with some other kind of persons. Have you maybe come in contact with some persons who had this kind of mentality?
Father, I would say no, but all the same, I can easily say many young ladies, they are talking of not getting married because of domestic violence. I've not come in contact with them directly, but I want to say that marriage is a vocation, like any other thing. So if you want to go into marriage, it's a union between a man and a woman, not a woman and a woman or a man and a man. So if you want to go into marriage, you must set out positive goals which you are going to go into that marriage. Positive goals. All of us have goals in life. You want to become a nurse, you have to work towards it. So you have to see what you can do. Then let's say your parents have been, maybe your mother have been abused domestically at home by your father. Look at those things that caused that problem at home. You work towards, so that you work over it, so that when you go into marriage, it does not happen to you. A man cannot just come in and start beating you. There must be a reason for that maybe beating or harassing you. You have to look at those things and see what you can do to overcome it, so that when you go into marriage, you don't have the same situation in your own marriage.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Charles. Looking at this topic also, I hope maybe we are not putting maybe fire on your buttocks, not to get married or to get into marriage. What do you think? You are looking at it from outside.
Yes.
What do you think about the topic?
Yes, further, the topic is quite an interesting one, because domestic violence inhibiting marriage. As all the panelists have rightly said, marriage is a wonderful gift created by God. Because God is the one who said it's not good for a man to be alone.
Yeah.
Yes, so marriage is a wonderful gift. But now, relating it to those who don't want to marry because of domestic violence. This domestic violence at times, we look at it from, let's say, from a different perspective, but it takes place right from the core of the house.
Yeah.
And the domestic violence, it results from this quest for control, quest for authority, quest for autonomy, wherein all the subordinates have to look up to you. And when you inhibit, or when you encounter resistance, you use force. And that's where the violence is setting. Then now, at this moment, we are not aware that those who are in that same household, maybe the children, the housemate, and the rest, they are copying it, either directly or indirectly. Because at times, just staying with somebody who perpetrates violence, you are already contaminated with that spirit in you. And now, if you are not actually drilled or oriented in a way in which you can actually fight against it, you end up falling prey to it. I once had an experience. I have a friend of mine who she's in Betua. She once told me that for her to get married will not be easy, because she wants to live with her uncle, and the uncle was fond of beating the wife whenever he drinks. If he goes out and drinks, when he returns, he got the wife well beaten. So at that her junior stage, she had the picture in her mind that I get married tomorrow, this is what my husband will be doing to me. So I told her that no, that's not how it should be. That's how your uncle was behaving. And you want to look at the family tree, you discover that that's how he was also brought up. So I will just land here by saying that all of us, we should mind what we do in our houses. Because at times, just bullying your wife or calling, where are you? You went to the market, you are not yet back. What are you doing in the market? Who are you with? And the rest. Those are signs of violence. Yeah. And it affects your partner psychologically, emotionally, and those around that partner. So either you know it or you don't know it, the genes are transmitted to those who are around you. Yeah. So this domestic violence is a very complex issue, and all of us are involved in one way or the other.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. I'm sure Mr. Valentine has been there for 10 years and he knows these things better. Mr. Valentine, can we just maybe look at what are some of the causes of this domestic violence, especially in this 21st century? And I don't know what was the situation back there 30 years back, but then it is so alarming this time around, because everybody, or majority of the young people back then, it was, the joy that after my education I won't get married and so on. But then this 21st century, you don't see that joy again in the face of people, and maybe making a mistake that experience to us proven. What do you think are some of these the causes of domestic violence that we encounter this 21st century?
Yes, thank you once again, Father. I wish that we, before we go to the causes, I want to still highlight on something that my madam mentioned a while ago, that refusal to get married because of domestic violence, but we wish to have a child. Wow, it's interesting. You see, there are some principles that we have to understand in life. There are various assignments that God has given us, or that God assigns his children. All of us, Madam Musuma mentioned it a while ago, that it is a vocation. That a vocation, for instance, if you want to become a nurse, you have to work towards becoming a nurse. If you want to become a teacher, you have to work towards becoming a teacher. Now, I talked about the assignments that God always give us, or God always prepare for his children. We don't have equal assignments. There are some of us who are priests like yourself. God prepared you for that assignment, that you should become a priest. You should take that vocation. Equally, I want to believe that God prepared me for procreation. But there is also that philosophy of love being attached to marriage. I want to understand that God prepared me for procreation. That's why I've gotten married, and he is blessing me with children. It is not a condition. It is not a condition that if I get married, I must have children. So those who think that they are threatened by domestic violence, or they believe, like my brother said a while ago, he cited an instance where a little girl is traumatized because of the domestic violence that has been she has been living the experience. That is not going to be a final kind of situation, because good enough, he explained to her that what happens to A might not necessarily happen to B, though it is frightening. If you think that you will not get married because of domestic violence, you always have a child, or you wish to just have your child, be careful. Because I remember history tells us that trade by barter, when trade by barter, within the era of trade by barter, you could take a plantain to the market, but you needed a gari. But the person who has gari does not need a plantain. You may think that you want to have a child. Which girl out there will just one day you come and have a child with her, and then without getting married to her? Or which boy will think that will just come and give you a child and then go like that without getting married? So I think that notion that is hovering in the minds of the youths should be tamed. We need to tame it. Those of us who have lived the experience, it's not like we are very violent in our marital home, but we have some small challenges that might or sometimes can result to violence, but we choose not to be violent. Yes. Let me come back to your question, Father. We are just insinuating that when you have a partner, when you are married, there are some certain kind of things that you will not expect from your partner. Obviously, those kind of things that can result to domestic violence is, I would say that disrespect. Because when we talk about domestic violence where a man is beating a woman, it's not only limited to a man beating the woman. Let us understand this. It's not only limited to that. So disrespect a woman is vice versa.
Some women,
there are some women who are very powerful. A woman can cook you in the room very well and then shouts people to come, kill me, whereas she's the one who has dealt with you. Okay,
somebody has seen this out of experience.
No, not out of experience. but you know, we learn now. We listen to other people's stories. Yeah. So those are the kind of things. Respect is reciprocal. It's vice versa. That is one serious thing. Lack of understanding, when you don't understand, and you know when you want to tussle with your partner, that's where violence comes in. Each person wants to show that he is on top. A woman will say, no, I am the mother of this house. You don't tell me what to do in the kitchen. I say, I'm the father of this house. You don't tell me what to do in the compound. You know, in my tradition, in my tradition, in Agam, the woman is the owner or the mother of the house, while the husband is the owner of the compound. That's why we call it in our dialect mundu. Mundu means you own the house. The mukubi means you own the compound. So in that kind of a situation where the woman feels that you are infringing into her own territory, thank you, it becomes a problem. Yes. Then materialism materialism. Some of us men are irresponsible. Some of us are irresponsible. We go out there, we enjoy ourselves, we eat the best roasted fish, we enjoy, we drink in beer parlors. But when you want to give money for cooking, you give that kind of token or chicken change that the woman will struggle. You expect her to cut her finger. In that kind of a situation, when you come, you want to raise your voice. Hey, look at what kind of food. It results to violence. It results to violence. That kind of a home, the children will be traumatized. Mostly you see mom keep beating daddy, or you see daddy keep beating mom. Yes. Then another aspect too is that used to cause this violence is how can I put it, mistaken identity. That kind of forced marriage where you impregnate sometimes a boy will impregnate a girl, the parents will impose it. Maybe they were fornicating, like Madam said a while ago. They were doing some kind of funny things. They didn't know the result, the outcome, and the outcome now comes out that the girl is pregnant. The parents will say, no, this is my girl, I prepared her for marriage, you will marry her. And that kind of forceful marriage, the man, there's no happiness in that house. That kind of situation, there's bound to have violence. And then you see drinking, alcoholism too, because when we talk about domestic violence now, sexual abuse. Look, rape. People think that rape is when is only limited to external factors, or maybe when you force a girl, a strange person, a girl to have sex. It's rape, but it's not limited to that. Married people rape their wives, and married women rape their husbands. Yes. Okay, if you force your husband to have sex by force without preparing her mind, that thing you prepared their mind, if you force it, it's rape, and it's domestic violence. Yeah. Because you are violating the husband's, the man's desire. He's not willing to do that. We know that it's a right to perform your marital duty, but you prepare the mind. Maybe you start signaling when you're in the parlor that is going to be hot today, you know.
That's a story for another day.
We'll be coming to that.
I think it's something that
we'll be coming to that, Mr. Valentine. Yes, we've been talking about that. We have something here. Good evening to you all in the studio. Yes, I didn't want to get married in my lifetime and choose to follow the Sisters of St. Anne, whose formation house was around me in the childhood. But then God told me my place was out among families, and then I started looking at how I could form a family and groom the members to live our heaven here on earth. Change one person and you change so many generations to come. This is from Madame Dorothy Kwate. So somebody, I don't know, Madame Maureen, may you have something to say about this? This is someone who has just indicated that she's following us, and that's her own contribution.
Okay. Like she said, maybe she had her reasons of not wanting to get married, and then, like we say, sometimes we propose, but God disposes. And I just wanted to continue with the courses, like Mr. Vali was saying here. We know that people are unique, like we always say, individuals. They wire differently, their brain, the way they reason. So I just wanted to add that one of the courses could be anger management issues. Some people need to go through maybe counseling and therapy to be able to manage their anger. From birth, naturally, their temperament is always that kind of a one that they are not calm. Any little thing gets them upset. They flare up. So in that kind of a thing, if somebody is married, maybe a man or a woman, and then a little misunderstanding flares up, it can lead to domestic violence. He already talked about cultural beliefs, and where most of us, especially, let me say Cameroon and Africa in general, there is this mentality that a woman must be submissive. Yeah, and even I know that the Bible says women be submissive. Father, you heard me quote, I'm not good at quoting the Bible, that we women should submit to our husbands. But they always forget that part, that means love your wives the way Christ loved his church. Yes. So when you want your wife to submit and you don't even show her love, affection, concern, there is surely going to be this violence. It could be even there will be lack of intimacy. There will be lack of communication, and all those things leads to violence. I also wanted to chip in that I know that we're talking on both sides. Violence is on both sides.
Yes.
But I wanted to say that approximately statistics have shown that 1 in every 3 women and 1 in every 10 men. So you see the ratio for yourselves, you do the statistics for yourself, and then you know that the highest percentage of people who undergo domestic violence or family violence are women. One of the causes that we were talking here about domestic violence, and especially in homes, which means we are talking about people who are married and do these things and their children say it. Let me go back. I like sometimes, to buttress my facts with theories. When you go to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory, he says that there are certain things, experiences that people get at their early stages that manifest in their later life. You know, that unconscious aspects uncovered in their lives. What do I mean here? A child is in the house where the father gets drunk or is into drugs, like we're saying, and cannot manage their violent impulse. They are always beating their mother. You would think that that child is not seeing it, but it is affecting that child. When that child grows up, it begins to play on his or her memory. That is what we are saying, that we should not even just focus on this, we should focus on these marital homes to know that all those things they are doing will affect these children. You might think that they are small, that what will a child of 10 years know? But when they reach 20, 21 years, they begin to recall those things. It comes back to them in flashes. Yes, Father, we've talked about traumatic experiences here. PTSD, yes.
More of it's like a flashback.
It's like a flashback. You know, it really scares them. You know, they slaps. We have heard of men beating women to death. What if there is a girl or a boy that the mother was beaten in his or her presence and he died? We've heard of women stabbing their husbands to death. That is domestic violence, right?
Yes.
What if that was done in front of these children? Do you think they will love to get married? Each time they see a man, that is what comes to their mind. Yes. And we also say that another theory we used to talk about, the grieving theory of Kubler-Ross. Yes, I know that this theory was to talk about the death and the dying in the hospital. They wanted to see how people with terminal illnesses, but we can link it to what happened at homes, in our homes, in our marital homes. What happened is that when these children, when they see these actions or this violence going on, it can be sexual, it can be physical, it can be verbal, like we have said, it can be, economic. You think that they don't know it as they grow up. The first thing is that when they reach that stage of getting married, all those things come to them and they're like, no. Because the Kubler-Ross grieving theory is in stages. They will start denying. Like we said here, somebody has come to get married. That thing comes back to your mind, say, no, I cannot get married. You are alone. When you deny like that, you even start manifesting anger. You start being angry for no just reason. Somebody has just come to get married to you, you're angry. Very soon, maybe when you're calm, you start bargaining. But should I get married? Should I not get married? And when maybe, let me say for women, age sets in, you get depressed. A lot of things. Because you are running from something that you could provide a solution, or that you could, ask for help. When you are depressed, for some people, they come out of it. If you look at the stages of this theory, they are like a curve. You go in like that. When some people go into that depression, they remain there. That is, I'll never get married because I saw it. But now, when they look for help, like we have said, they interact. Like Father said, he's working with young people. They are counseled, they get advice. They have to know that all these things are not permanent. There are some of them that go to that stage of acceptance. They now say, okay, this thing happened to my parents. Maybe because of the reason, like Mama said here, this is what I saw. My father was used to drink or was a drug addict. That is why this thing was happening. Or he had anger issues. Or the culture at that time. Now like this, we're trying to take those cultural aspects that they were very, very, this thing of women have to lie on the floor for men to walk on them. This century, we're not saying that our shoulders can grow above the head, but they are trying to bring some sort of equality and equity. Not that we are not taking women out of the God-given role of a woman or a wife. They're just saying that when you people know how equal or the equity you people will work together, and at the final end you will see that they will come out. So we are sending this message back at homes. Parents should know that all what they are doing will affect their children. Maybe our parents in those days didn't even know that, but now, no matter where we are or how we're seeing it, it is time for us to make sure that our children get into marriages. We should not allow them go there with those kind of mind and mentality. Some will even go there and then the slightest thing, like Mama was saying, one girl will say that what I saw in our house, even if I get married, no man can do that to me. The man does a little thing, you get up and you are fighting. You start, you're very angry because you want to defend yourself, right? So you should know that those things that we're doing are affecting them. If you want them to love marriage, to get married, to get children in marriage, and not to get children out of wedlock and stay back at home, we should amend our ways. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think also if we finish with maybe the causes, Madam Usman, do you have any of the causes for this domestic violence, or Mr. Charles, if you have any? If you do not, I think maybe the crux of the matter is maybe to help these young people to wipe this kind of mentality in your mindset, or this kind of teachings that have been circulating in our society, especially in this 21st century. I think we could tackle the parents who are there, who are married now. What we tell these parents who think that maybe to solve a situation at home is either to trash the wife or to trash the husband, or maybe quarreling every time now and then, or maybe even to beat up the children, you know. What do we have for these people? Because I think maybe that's one of the way forward, maybe to wipe this mentality, rather than telling these young people that no, what happened to Papa and Mama may not happen in your own marriage. Why don't we attack what is happening now? Because there are some parents, a week will not go by without fighting in that kind of home. What do we tell them? Mama Musima, I've been there for a long time too. Yes. Before I get to that question, in the past, maybe about 30 years behind, was it common that you get maybe families or married homes being a kind of a battleground? I don't know. In the days of Ahijo, the system.
No, Father, I would say it is not like that. I want to attribute some of these domestic violence that most of these youths, they don't really know the importance of marriage. So I just sit overnight and wake up and say, I want to get married. You have to really know why you're going to a relationship. And marriage is something which is for life. Till death do us part. Don't just get up one morning or say you want to get married. Secondly, the man, no longer a boy. Because when you are going to marry, you are not a man, you're not a boy. You should be matured mentally to know where you're going to marriage. And you have to, in the course of courtship, both of you should be able to know your do's and don'ts. Then you work towards it before you go into saying you are getting married. You should be able, that is the period you can easily refuse certain things, because by the time you go in, there are certain things you cannot easily refuse. And more to the fact that we should not go in for materialism. Don't see a man or a woman and say because she has money or the family is rich, you want to go into marriage. Going to marry because of those material things, a time will come, those things will fluctuate, will not be there, and you start having problems in and out, you and your wife. If you are a man, you have the money, you want to marry, set out your goals so that your woman will know this is what you are coming in to take. And if the woman accepts it, you go in and abide by it. Secondly, we should be able to respect each other when going to marry. Respect each other. You should be able to dialogue one another to know what he or she likes. People work towards that so that you have a peaceful home. Don't say you not get married because mama was beating. Because in those days, you cannot come in and start beating a woman or beating a man. There must be a reason for that. Okay, maybe your husband does not like you putting on, let's say, wig. Yeah. You go and buy a wig. And he tells you first, I don't like this thing on you. It does not make you look beautiful. Maybe you are looking older than your age. Say, but your mates are wearing, you have to wear it. Maybe by the next time you come, the man drag it off your head. You want to show that you two can maybe attack, and people start fighting in the house. At least be able to respect what he does not like. When you say does not like this thing, you should also abide by, because those are things you're supposed to discuss in the course of your courtship. No, this is what he likes, this is what he does not like. If he doesn't like the late coming in the house, respect it. And when people respect each other, there'll be no violence in that. Though every marriage is not the bed of roses. There will always be problem coming in, but it is the way you manage the problem that you see how you can come out of it. That is my take.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Usman. I'm sure Mr. Charles will have something before we get into this other part of it.
Yes, Father. As Mami rightly said, failing to plan is preparing to fail. So one of the main challenges encountered during this abuse thing that we're talking about is poor communication. Poor communication. Like during courtship, if you don't invest more in communicating, invest more in knowing who your partner is, you end up making a wrong decision that you one day regret somehow. Because at times, the way our world has paraphrased it nowadays, people go in for what they want to see. They don't actually go in for what the person really is.
And when those things tend to go out of it.
Yes, Father, because imagine that if you go out with a young girl on a date, upon arguing, let's say you easily get irritated, but says no, it's okay. Unless I lied, so that people should read. That is a clear sign of an impending danger tomorrow. So you know that your partner has anger issues. I think that moment is the best moment to actually start addressing it. Tell him that I've discovered that once we have contrasting issues, you always exhibit this type of characters. Let's try taming them now. If not, tomorrow that hand that he was intending to lay on you, and maybe he feared the crowd, when you will be with him in the house, you finally land it on you. So if we invest more during our pre-marital sessions like counseling and the rest, which are broad opportunities where we can actually discover who our partners are, maybe we'll reduce this issue of house abuse and will not transmit that venom to the younger ones.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Charles. We come over to Mr. Valentine. Refusal to marry, a result of domestic violence. After looking at all these points, the question below says, what is your take? I thought maybe we could handle that at the end of it, but we precisely at this moment, we try to handle these persons because that a good number of persons or families or marriages where they think solutions to their problems at home is rather to to turn that home a battleground. What message do we have for women? Like Mr. Valentine said, it's vice versa. It's reciprocal. It may not only be men beating up their wives, but then at some other places where women they beat up their husbands too. Though the husbands will come out to wipe their faces and not to show the world that this is what happens. So Mr. Valentine, I think maybe that's one of the way we could correct this teaching or this mindset that is so alarming in this 21st century. What do we have for these parents? What do we have? What do you have for them?
Yeah, Father, my first take is that young people should not be discouraged to get married because of domestic violence, because sometimes they work based on EAC.
So how do you convince these young people?
Some live here, some live the experience. Yes. What I wish to tell them is that they should understand. They should study their partners, and above all, they should follow their heart. Follow their heart, and when you follow your heart, love comes in. You are not getting married because your parents are forcing you to do so, because your neighbor has gotten married. Every beautiful girl around the quarter is getting married now. You have to get married, whether come rain come shine, you want to get married. No, don't enter into a relationship that your heart is not beating for. Otherwise, we used to say that if you get married to a person that the person knows how to dance, when the person will be weary, when the age will come, that person will not dance again, then that will be the end of the marriage, because that person cannot dance again. If you get married to a person because that person has money, it means that the day the container will sink in the ship, in the sea, that day that marriage will come to an end. Those are not good indicators for marriage. You should follow their hearts, follow their heart desire, and they should also try to ask. When I talk about ask, try to make friends with married women. Try to make friends with married women. Find out how it goes. though you might you when you are prayerful, you might be fortunate to meet a married woman who will groom you very well and prepare you towards marriage. But if you are not fortunate, you meet a one who tell you that, hey, don't try to get into that kind of a situation. Then now, what I wish to tell married couples, because we need to, those of us who are married, we need to show the example. Because remember that this caption is coming because we have noticed 1 or 2 cases of domestic violence that has an effect to the youths, and it is incumbent for us to ameliorate, to change our lifestyle so that the youth can copy something good in terms of marriage. One thing that I want us to understand, or I'm telling the couples, is that lies telling is a cankerworm that destroys a home. And it is obvious that when you tell lies, you are provoking your partner. And when your partner is provoked, there will be a reaction after an action. And what will be the action? The action will be that you batter, you bring violence, and of course that marriage will not last. And when you are entering into marriage, note that it is not temporal. You said a while ago, Father, that when we were in YCW, there's this popular song that we used to sing. If you put your hands on the plow, keep looking back is not worthy of. You know, he who puts his hand on the plow and keep looking back is not worthy of me, says Christ. If you are into marriage, you have put your hands in the plow, and you have to follow it right to the end. You have to follow it right to the end. It's not all bed of roses. There will be ups and downs, but remember that you have entered into it. Christ says, if you put your hands on the plow and you keep looking back, then you are not worthy of Christ. You are not worthy of Christ, because remember, marriage is a sacrament. Marriage is a sacrament, and that's what I also advise couples to take your marriage to church, because when you take your marriage to the altar, you have already registered that marriage in the kingdom, and the angels have already been assigned to follow that marriage. And once you do that, remember too that you are as an attraction to detractors. You are an attraction to enemies. So you have to be firm, because it's not going to be easy. I remember the famous word of Emeritus Bishop Bushu, that Jesus no be talk say he go easy, no be don't take and say he go easy. This is no mean as an easy thing, You go for prayer, you stand strong. Jesus no be tell you say go easy. So it is not something that you think that it's just going to be fine. No, I talked about lies telling, truth. We have to be truthful, and then financial management should not be limited to one person. When it's your turn, when it's your money, it's your money. When it's our money, it's our money. No, it's not going to work like that. Money is our money, right from day one to the last day.
Mr. Valentine, you brought all this new terminology. You're talking of that money. If it's the husband money, it's the money for the husband and the wife. No. If it's the wife's money, it's her own money. Is that what it is?
Whatever direction you look at it. But it's common, because we men, we are supposed to be responsible. Though we notice too that some women, when is their money, when it concerns them, it is their money. When it concerns the general home, the man's money is the money for the general home. Vice versa too. Some men too, vice versa, because some men think that their own money is to go and enjoy out there, while the woman's money is to buy little things. They tell you that toothpaste is not there. What is that? Tell your mother. Did you budget for that? You didn't budget for that. So you have to plan the money. Any money that you have in your marital home is your money. All of you. It's not. You have to plan the money. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Valentine. I think at this point in time, maybe we'll bring out those nice things as far as marriage is concerned. You've been there for years, so as to attract these young people to wipe out that mentality, by showing them, the good side also about marriage, not only domestic violence. Madam Warren, can you tell these young people more about that? Maybe me, to some extent, may wipe that mentality. And like each marriage is unique. What happens to your father or your grandfather or your neighbor, it's not necessarily maybe a kind of same thing that's going to happen in your own marriage. So what are some of those good things in marriage that they may not see, and they see only maybe their eyes are blind because of domestic violence, and maybe it's a kind of a barrier for them to see those good things? Can you please help them to show, maybe let them see those good things also, that may easily eradicate this whole issue of domestic violence in your mind, so that they too at the end of the day will join this maybe this institution that God himself is the author?
All right, Fana, even before I answer your question, we are talking about refusal to get married as a result of domestic violence. I want to just say these two things, because we know that we are talking about domestic violence, what they see that will cause them not to get married. I want to say that I will focus on the parents. When you see that in your house, it is getting to that extent that you people are violating each other, or there is power imbalance. The man is so powerful, and there is battering, there's beating, slapping every time. There's what we call compromise. You can compromise. If you see those things that make that man to slap, even though we know that some people are just addicted to beating and slapping, even without any nothing triggers it, you can the two partners will never be the same. We are saying that you can compromise. You who hold the children or the family or the home or the marriage at high esteem, because you people cannot be on the same level. You can compromise. And we're also talking about when there is violence in the house, please, couples, leave children out of your conflicts. Leave children out of your conflict. And then I want to go back a little to what this economic violence. What is it? I just want to add. You see this thing that men say that my wife will not work because I am viable, I can provide for everything. If you see what happens when especially the father of the house dies or goes ahead, and you see what that woman goes through, it is as a result of economic violence that she was not given the chance to work. And that is how she suffers. And that is what scares some of these people, these children, our youth, not to get married. So I was still saying that I will focus on those three things to talk again to the parents that we should look into those issues. And then back to what the nice things in marriage that can encourage our youngsters to get married. Some of them, even though marriage is not a bed of roses, but it's also very beautiful. When you look at those people, you will go to church, you will see people celebrating 50 years of marriage. You will see our mothers and our fathers celebrating 50 years of marriage. It means that if they could persevere for those 50 years, you can also do it. Love exists. Love still exists, and it's a beautiful thing. The fact that your parents were not in love, they didn't fall in love. You can work on yourself. You already know the cause, like we said, and look for those avenues that will make you get someone that you love and get married to. And then besides, we talked of people getting children or deciding not to get married but giving birth to children. When you see a father and a mother, how they take care of their children, don't you admire it? Yes, those are the kind of beautiful things you have to tell them. That living as a couple, as a family, is also beautiful. We know that the family is the basic unit of the society. Without the family, there is no society, there is no church, there is no community. You must belong to a family. So you cannot decide that you will be aloof. You will not enjoy your life like that. When you decide to be a single person, when you refuse to get married, know that you will fall into certain temptations like prostitution, drug addict, just being irresponsible and useless. It's very difficult to be responsible like a young girl or a young man when you've reached the age of getting married and you refuse. You will be tempted because you are not responsible. You don't have children to take care of. You don't have bills to pay. You are not working for anything. It makes you very, very irresponsible. So we're telling these young people that marriage, having children, living your life is very, very beautiful. Sometimes we encourage them to go to church. When there are weddings that you are being invited or not, your family members, go there. It's also some kind of self-learning. You must not go to a counselor. You must not get talk with your friends. Just yourself sitting in church and watching weddings. I mean, you begin to tap those nice things. You admire it. You know, even I'm already married for years, but sometimes when I just sit in church, these young people getting married, I mean, you smile. You learn a lot from the homilies that are preached in church during weddings. You learn a lot, and you can also work on that. We should not only think that marriage is a battlefield. It's not. But Father, there's one thing I wanted to say. I always say that it might be harsh. Like when we talked about stabbing and killing of people. In marriage, we are talking to these parents who are doing those things that will traumatize children and make them not to get married. When life is at stake, they should do something. They should not allow it to reach a point where somebody will die.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Maureen. I'm sure you're still going to repeat that before we go strictly at the end of this session today. To remind our parents of this very technical, but a clear point for them as maybe a take-home material. Madam Musima, like we've been talking before, can we maybe add to what Madam Maureen has just said? Some of those good aspects in marriage, which the young people maybe they have not been seen. Maybe you bring it to them so that when they see those kind of things, it'll be able for them to. Maybe to come on board or maybe to join the others who are in that vocation.
Yes, Father, thank you. Like Madam Maureen said, I would say like in my 31 years of marriage before my husband died, I think he has laid his hand on me twice. He has another way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's either he refuses to talk with you for 2 or 3 days when he's angry than to use his hand to beat. So I think I also advise our young men or our young ladies, those who are able to beat their husband, that is not, you don't solve problem by beating. You don't solve it by beating. There are many things you could do to pass on the message to your wife or to your husband. And like what I said, first thing in marriage is respect.
Yeah.
When you respect your partner and you put dialogue, you always know where he or she has gone wrong and see how you can easily amend it. So marriage is not something that is not a battleground, as we said. So there are many ways you can always iron out it. You know that marriage is a beautiful thing. You two should be able to sit at home, raise your own family under the leadership of a man, because tomorrow there are certain people who say God created Adam and Eve. God was not stupid to bring in Eve because he needed a companion. There are certain time in your lifetime you need somebody with whom you can sit and confide in. Then when you say you don't want to get married, you remain alone, you want to have your children, a time also can those children be ruling. You cannot easily control them because there's no man beside you to say, hey, you stop there, don't do this to mom, because sometimes the children override their mothers. But when there is a man to take charge of the house, the children also know how to toe their line and respect their mother. Then when you bring up a child alone, tomorrow the child will have the idea that I will not get married, and the child continue to move on. That is not the society we want to have as in this 21st century. So it's good that you get married, persevere, tolerate each other. It is not everything have to be fighting. There are certain things you can easily iron out by through dialogue, and with that, I think the young lady, the young man, the young lady can easily know that marriage is a good thing and we have to live a peaceful life till death do us part.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Musima, and to you, Mr. Charles, I hope you're making up your mind this time around not to stay out of it, but to get these good points and to encourage your friends also to get into it. So what do you have for these young men out there who think maybe they'll just want to take the side of maybe single parent, not to get into marriage because maybe their dad always trashed their mother, or vice versa, and they think that getting into marriage, that same kind of stuff comes into your mind all the time.
Yes, Father, I've already made up my mind to get married. Let me answer the first part of it. Then now the second part of it. The second part of it is that marriage is a very wonderful vocation, as my mothers here have rightly said. Only vocation has been founded by God, and which is the nursery of all vocations, because there's no vocations that can sprang up without coming from marriage. So I want to encourage the youths that we should invest more in marital programs like counseling, talking to priests, visiting counselors, or attending marriage ceremony, as Mom rightly said here. because we don't know, a certain homily somewhere can change the note that you have tied on your head for so long. So we encourage all to invest more in it so that the outcome would be favorable. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And to Mr. Valentine Dongwa, what is your take at the end of this, coming to the end of this program of today? You know, domestic violence standing as a kind of a barrier for young people to get married. What is your take, and what do you have maybe as a kind of take-home material to our viewers and our very special friends of Mountain Echoes?
Yeah, Father, I'm happy for this program, and I'm confident that from all the ideas that we've put together, those who are listening or those who are watching us, they should spread the news that the notion of being afraid to get married because of domestic violence is something of the past. I'm happy that Mr. Charles is here, and he's just made up his mind that he's in for it. He's in for marriage, and all the other young people get married, except you have been called up to a particular vocation, to be a priest or a sister, or so if you are not called up in that direction, then get married. It's beautiful, it's interesting, it's interesting. Yes, it's a sacrament that we have to enjoy.
And to maybe you talked of some women who trash their husbands at home, which is domestic violence. Also, we'll be handling that some other occasion. What do you have for those women out there? Because there are some men who have made up their minds that they don't want to be trashed by their wives. They'll prefer to just stay apart. What do you have for those kind of women?
Yeah, I just wish to tell them, if you are one of them, that remember that a child who disturbs the mother from sleeping will not also sleep. Yes, because you may think that because you have force, you have some advantages, then you have to exploit the situation. But remember that anytime that violence is taking place, whether you are the Mike Tyson or you are not, the effects is far. You still feel the effect. So it's a virtue. Love is a virtue. Be like a dove, be like a dove that is subtle and gentle. Then you enjoy your marriage. When there is happiness in the house, everything is fine. Even if you eat white rice, the white rice is going to be like the best rice that you have ever eaten. Like one young man said, "Mafufu, fine, empty."
Yeah, thank you very much. And to Madam Maureen, what do you have for men who still insist that they have no choice but to trash their wives all the time, without knowing that it affects the young people and even the children or those in that neighborhood?
All right, I would just want to tell them that they should refrain from violence. It is outdated. It is a past event, like I would call it. It is not the thing of the 21st century. It will be a man. You don't measure your manhood or your prowess on how you can be able to beat your wife. Sometimes as a man you have to act like a coward. Acting like a coward even means you're brave. Yes, it's not every little thing, because sometimes they will say that women are like children. It's not every little thing that a woman does that you go to rub your belt to beat that woman, as if you're beating your own kid. Men should refrain from it. And to our youth out there, they should pray while walking on all those the experiences that they have heard, that they have passed through, or that they are hearing. They should pray that God should give them a partner. And then to parents, nowadays talking to our children about marriage is not taboo. We should talk to them, the pros and the cons. Tell them how marriage can be enjoyable. Even if you're not enjoying yours, you know that maybe this is the reason, this is what happened. Tell them so that they should not get into it naive. They should have, maybe for instance, a lady should come out with what she wants. The man, she's not looking for a perfect man, but she's looking for a man that can have one or two of these qualities, and they will enjoy the marriage. They don't just go in for anything, but they should know that they should take time and not be in a haste to get married, and that comes back to us parents, because we talk about all other things and we avoid to sit down with our children and we ask them when they are of that age, 21 years and above, what do you think about marriage? Would you like getting married? What type of a person would you like to get married to? We should even become counselors to our children before they look for counselors outside.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Maureen, for being with us today. Mr. Valentine, thank you very much. And Mama Messi and Mr. Charles, thank you for being with us today. I want to say big thank you to Mr. Jesse over there, the keyboard. I want to say big thank you also to Madam Dorothy Kwate for her contribution, and all the silent viewer. Remember those in Bafia and the fan club in Ekok, the Manfi, the border between Nigeria and Cameroon. Thank you for being with us, and may God continue to bless you. Keep on watching the MRO TV, and a very special one. These are Mountain Echoes, where we trash family issues and societal issues. May God bless you all.